saving remnant that remains with us on the afternoon service. I know you have not gotten enough Torah yet, so we're going to do some more. So if you will, you only have one book, right? I have two books, you have one book. All right, so if you go to page 328, and it shall come to pass in the fullness of time that the mountain of the house of God shall be established as the highest mountain and raised above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. And then many people shall say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the eternal, to the house of the God of Jacob. And they will say, teach us your ways, that we may walk in your paths. We shall give thanks today for our Torah of life, the way of kindness, mercy, and truth. May compassion be our source of sustenance now, as in our people's past. And may our souls withstand times of crisis, and our hearts the inclination to evil. May the covenant of Abraham and Sarah strengthen our will to do what is right. May the qualities of mercy and goodness, love and forgiveness flow through our lives. And let us be strong in a perilous world, and let us open our hearts to the paths of Torah. When the ark would set out in the wilderness, Moses would say, go forward, Adonai, may your enemies be scattered. May your enemies flee before you. Please rise. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. Udavar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Israel b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchut Ve'amyo Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti u'neromemo shemo yakdav. Come together with me, let us exalt and sanctify God's name. Lecha Adonai Hallelujah. Shlosha devarim ha'olam ha'olam omen. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam ha'olam omen. I sense that my past presidents are laughing at the size of my Torah. Yeah, no, yeah. Hey, when you got the car, okay, now I understand. All right, but it's also the case that after 22 years of schlepping, the biggest Torah we have, I just decided I'd rather bend down like this than have to deal with all of that. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, our Torah portion, as always, is going to be from the book of Leviticus, though the Reform movement does make a variation. In the traditional afternoon service, we would be reading the chapter before this chapter, which is the chapter on forbidden sexual relations. But I have confidence in you that you all know what is forbidden with forbidden sexual relations, and instead we're going to read the slightly more uplifting holiness code. So I am going to need 3 aliyot. Who would be the first person who will volunteer to say a bracha for the Torah? Oh, no, there we go, right there. Come up, handsome man with a beard. The other handsome man with a beard we'll get to in a little bit here. Yamod. Never volunteer. Come on over here. What's your Hebrew name? Yamod?
Mordechai Meir.
Mordechai Meir ben?
Ben Noach Leib.
Noach Leib. All right, so let me find my position here. Ah, there we go. Is that right? No, that's Aaron. Hold on. And that's Achrimot. And there it is. There it is, right there. Okay. Go ahead. Right there.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol amim b'noran lanu nor et haTorah. Baruch atah Adonai
Notein haTorah. Amen. V'yidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor deber et kol adat b'nei Yisrael amarta alehem kiddushim tihiyu ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem ish imo v'aviv tira'u v'et shavtotai tishmaru ani Adonai Elohechem al tafnu el ha'elilim v'elohei masecha lo ta'asu lechem Ani Adonai Elohechem. Ki zavochu zachav shloshim va'Adonai l'retznechem v'tzichu b'yom zachnechem yechol mimenu hanoer ad yom. All right. And then Adonai said to Moses, explain to all of the assembly of the children of Israel, you will be holy, for I, Adonai your God, am holy. And a man shall honor his mother and father, be in reverence of his mother and father, and my Sabbaths you shall keep. I am the Lord your God. Do not turn to idols or to molten gods, gods that have been made of metal. You shall not do that. I am the Lord your God, and you will make what's the word I want? Whole offerings, wellness offerings to Adonai, as according to your will, on the sacrifice of the day of the offering times, and you will eat it all the way till tonight until the morning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emes v'ayeh olam notah b'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein
HaTorah. Amen. Stand on over here. And who would be our next volunteer? There we go. We got Bruce, a beardless man, nonetheless worthy. Yamod Yosef ben Avraham v'Miriam Hasheni.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Notein HaTorah. Amen. Ooh, actually, there we go. Zero in on that. Okay. Ufkutz rechem et katzir artzachem lo tekale pa'at sadcha likzor veleket ketzircha lo telaket bekarmacha lo tolel uferet karmacha lo telaket le'ani velager ta'azov otam ani Adonai Elohechem lo tinogvu velo tchachashu velo tishachru et shem et Adonai ish elo amito, forgive me, velo tishva'u v'shmi b'saker v'chalalta et shem Adonai Elohecha ani Adonai lo ta'asok et re'echa velo tigzol velo talin peulat saker itcha ad boker lo tikalel cheresh v'lifnei iver lo tihien mikshol v'yarita me'elohecha ani Adonai lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat velo tisa Pnei dal velo titor pnei gadol betzedek tishpot amitecha lo telech rachil ba'amecha velo ta'amod al dam re'echa ani Adonai lo tisna et achicha belevavacha chokeach techoach et amitecha velo tisa alav chet lo takom velo titor et b'nei amecha v'ahavta l're'echa kamocha ani Adonai Elohecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai
Notein HaTorah. Amen. And when you harvest the harvest of your fields, you shall not harvest the corners or take the corners of your field in your harvest, but rather you shall leave it as gleanings. You shall not glean from your vines. You shall not do a second sweep of your vineyard. You shall not glean, but rather you shall leave them as gleanings for the poor and for the resident alien and for those who are in your midst. Ani Adonai, I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal, you shall not oppress, you shall not deceive someone among your people. You shall not swear by my name falsely. Or shall you curse the name of your God? Ani Adonai, I am Adonai. You shall not deceive your neighbor, nor shall you be a thief. A ganef is really a robber. You shall not be a robber, nor shall you hang on to the wages of a laborer until the next morning. You shall not curse the blind. You shall not put a stumbling block before the, you shall not curse the deaf. You shall not put a stumbling block before the blind. For you shall fear Adonai your God. You shall not do any sort of shady dealing in any sort of judgment. You shall not show any favor to the poor, nor shall you make any deference towards the great. You shall judge my people fairly. You shall not go around bearing tales against my people, against your people. You shall not stand by indifferent while your neighbor bleeds. I am the Lord. You shall not hate your neighbor in your heart. You may surely reprove them, but not to the point of bringing sin upon yourself. You shall not falsely deal. You shall not lie to a person of my neighborhood. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Adonai. All right, and we have a third person. Yes, come on up. Not truly a beard, but pretty close. All right. It's coming back. All right.
All right.
You want to touch with them? Yeah, right there.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher batar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen.
Mipnei seva takum v'hadarta pnei zaken v'yoreta ma'elohecha ani Adonai ki yagur itchem ger ba'artzachem lo tonu oto ke'ezrach michem yihyeh lechem hager hagar etchem v'ahavta lo Kamocha ki gerim hayita be'eretz Mitzrayim ani Adonai Elohechem lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat b'midah v'mikshol u'mishura moznei tzedek avnei tzedek ifat tzedek hin tzedek yihyeh lechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti et etchem mi'eretz Mitzrayim Ushmartem et kol hukotai ve'et kol mishpatai va'asitem otam ani Adonai. All right, and before the silver head you shall rise, and before the elderly you shall defer. You shall be in awe of your God. I am Adonai. And when there is a resident alien dwelling in your land, you shall not oppress him. Rather, as the right word isn't citizen, but as a resident or as a native resident, you will regard him. That is the resident alien who dwells in your midst. And you shall love him as you love yourself, because you were once resident aliens in the land of Egypt. I am Adonai, your God. You shall not do any perversity in judgment or in measure or in scale. You will, or in wet weights. Moznei tzedek, that is scales. You shall have righteous scales. You shall have righteous stones. You shall have righteous volume containers. You shall have righteous dry containers. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out from the land of Egypt, and you shall attend to or keep all of my ordinances and all of my laws, and you shall see to them. I am Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Asher koach. All right, now this is a singular opportunity. Here we have a very small Torah for lifting up. Is there anybody here who has never felt stout enough to do this, who would like the opportunity to lift the Torah? Would you want to do this?
I was letting him hold.
Oh, hold it, yeah. No, we want someone else. Who else wants to do this? Maybe Shula. Would Shula, no, you don't want to do this, even though it's really manageable? All right, Jeff, don't. Now you're just embarrassing yourself. No, come on up.
But you have to do it one-handed.
Right, that's right.
I would never try this with the big one.
Oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're going to be on, hold on, let me find the page. Okay, thank you. 46. Please rise. Torah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Please be seated. And now, it is, I think it's the central feature of our worship is to celebrate the Haftarah. We're going to be on page 342. And may I have your name, my dear, in Hebrew? Talmud?
Oh, Shana Gittel,
Shena Gittel bat
Bat Eliyahu.
Eliyahu HaMafterah. Do you need a platform, sir? No? All right. We want to put you up here so everyone can see you from every angle.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nim tovim v'ratza v'divrei hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah Moshe Avdo Yisrael Amo Uvindiye Ha'emet V'tzedek V'ani V'hi Dvar Adonai El Yonav and Amitai Lemor Kum Lech El Ninveh Ha'ir Hagdola Kra Aleha Ki Altar Atam Lefanai Vayakam Yona Livroach Tarshisha Milifnei Adonai Vayered Yafo Vayimsani Abba Tarshish Vayitain Zachara Vayered Balavo Imahem Tarshisha Milifnei Adonai Vadonai Heitil Rakadola El Hayam Vahisa Argadol Bayam Vahaniya Chishva Lehisha Veir Vairu Hamalachim Vaizaku Ishel Elohav Vayatilu Et HaKelim Asher Baniya El Hayam Lahakel me'aleihem v'yana yarad el yartei hasfina v'ishkav v'yeradam v'yikra v'elav Rav HaChoveil, Vayomer lo malacha nirdam, Kum kara el Elohecha, Ulai yidashet ha-Elohim, lanu v'lo noved, v'yamru ish el re'ehu l'chu, v'napila ko'alot, v'neda b'shalmi, hara'ah hazot lanu, v'yapilu go'alot, v'yipol hagoral al Yonah, v'amru elav hagidana lanu ba'asher lemi hara'ah hazot lanu mamalachtocha ume'ayin tavo ma'artzecha ve'emize am ata. Vayomer alehem ivri anochi ve'et Adonai Elohei hashamayim ani yareh asher asa et hayam v'et hayabasha vayru hanashim yira gedolah vayru elav mazod asita Ki adu anashim, ki milifnei Adonai uvoreach, ki hikid lahem, vayomru elav, manas elach, vayshtak hayom me'aleinu, ki hayom holech v'so'er, vayomer alehem, za'uni, Vahatiluni el hayam, vayshtak hayam me'alechem, ki yodea ani, ki v'sheli, hasar hagadol, haze alechem, v'achtaru hanashim, lahashiv, El hayabasha v'lo yacholu ki hayom holef v'so'er alehem vayikru el Adonai v'amru an Adonai al nanovda b'nefesh ha'ish hazeh v'al titein aleinu dam naki ki ata Adonai ka'asher chafatzta asita v'ysu et Yonah v'ytiluhu el hayam v'ya'amod hayam mizapo Vayiru hanashim yiragdola et Adonai v'yisbechut zevach l'Adonai v'yidru nedarim v'yman Adonai da gadol livloa et Yonah v'yi Yonah Bimei hadag shalosha yamim ushlosha lelot vayitpalel Yonah el Adonai Elohav mimei hadaga vayomer karati mitzarali El Adonai bi'aneni mi beten she'ol shavati shemata koli vatashlicheni mitzulav bilvav yamim v'nahar yisovaveni kol mishparecha v'galecha alaya varu vani amarti nigrashti mineged einecha ach osif lahabit el heichal kadshecha Afafuni mayim ad nefesh, tohom yisofaveni, suf chavush laroshi, lekitzve harim yarati, ha'oreth, b'rihecha checha va'adi la'olam, v'ta'al mishachat chayai Adonai Elohai, V'hitatef alai nafshi, et Adonai zacharti, v'tavo elecha tevilati, el heichal kadshecha, mishamrim havlei shav, chastam ya'azovu, va'ani, b'kol tadas b'chalach, asher nadarti ashalema, Yeshuatal Adonai, va'omer Adonai ladag, vayakeh et Yonah el hayabasha, vayhi davar Adonai el Yonah shenit lamor, kum lech el nin v'ha'ir hagdolah ukra eleha et hakriya asher anochi dover elecha v'kam Yonah v'yelech el nin v'kidvar Adonai v'nin v'hayta ir gedolah l'Elohim mahalach sheloshet yamim v'yach el Yonah lavo v'ir mahalach yom echad v'ykra v'yamar od arba'im yom v'nin V'nepachet v'ya'aminu anshenin v'Elohim v'krutzom v'albeshu sakim migdolam v'ad katanam. V'ygad avar el melech ninveh v'ykam mikiso v'ya'avir adarto me'alav v'chasak v'yeshev al ha'efer v'yzek v'yomer b'ninveh mita'am hamelech Ugdolav lemor ha'adam v'hab hema habakar v'hatzon al yitamum u'ma al yiru u'mayim al yishtu v'ait kasu sakim ha'adam v'hab hema v'ykru el Elohim v'chazka v'yashuvu ish midarko hara'ah umin hechamas asher b'chapehem miyodea yashuv v'nicham ha'Elohim v'shaf v'charon apo v'lo noved v'yar ha'Elohim et ma'asechem ki shavu medarkam hara'ah v'yinahem ha'Elohim al hara'ah asher diber la'asot lahem v'lo asa v'yera Yonah ra'a gdolah v'yichar lo v'yitpalel el Adonai v'yomar ana Adonai halazeh devari ad heati al admati al ke kidamti livroach tarshisha ki yadati ki ata el chanun v'rachum erech apayim v'rav chesed v'nicham al hara'ah ואתה אדוני קח נא את נפשי ממני כי טוב מותי מחיי. ויאמר אדוני היטב קרא לך ויצב יונה מן העיר וישב מקדם לעיר ויעש לו שם סוכה וישב תחתיה בצל עד אשר יראה מה יהיה בעיר. וימן אדוני אלוהים כי כיום ויעל מעל יונה להיות צל על ראשו להצילו מרעתו וישמח יונה על הקיקיון שמחה גדולה. וימן אלוהים תולעת פעלות השחר למחרת פתח את הקיקיון ויבש ויהי כזרוח השמש. וימן אלוהים רוח קדים חרישית ותח השמש על ראש יונה ויתעלף וישאל את נפשו למות ויאמר טוב מותי מחיי. ויאמר אלוהים אל יונה היטב קרא לך על הקיקיון ויאמר היטב קרא לי עד מוות. ויאמר אדוני אתה חסת על הקיקיון אשר לא עמדת בו ולא גידלתו שבין לילה היה ובין לילה עבד ואני לא אחוס על ננבי העיר הגדולה אשר יש בה הרבה 12 ריבו אדם אשר לא ידע בין ימינו לשמאלו ובהמה רבה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל העולמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ויעשה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ונאמנים דבריך ודבר אחד מדבריך כל לא ישוב ריקם כי אל מלך נאמן ורחמן אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו. רחם על ציון כי בית חיינו ולעלובת נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני משמח ציון בבניה. שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו על כיסאו לא ישב זר ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד. על התורה ועל העבודה V'al hanavim, v'al Yom HaKippurim hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu limchila v'lislicha ulchapara l'chavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach Yitbarach Shemecha b'fi kochai tamid le'olam va'ed udvarcha emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch Ata Adonai Melech mocher v'soleach la'avonotenu v'la'avonot amo Beit Yisrael Uma'avir ashmotenu b'chol shana v'shana melech al kol ha'oretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom ha'kippurim. Amen.
Yasha Koach, dazzling as usual. So, before we return the Torah to the Ark in order to make Jeff sit there just a little bit longer, does anybody want to reflect or have any questions about the book of Jonah? I know that we heard it in Hebrew. Hopefully you were reading along in English. Does anybody have any Yom Kippur response to why we read this, what it's trying to say to us?
There was a question earlier. Is this a Torah portion for Rosh Hashanah or for Yom Kippur?
It's for Yom Kippur.
It is.
The afternoon of Yom Kippur. We read Isaiah for the morning service. Anybody else? All right. So if you go to page 352, Yechalilu et Shem Adonai ki nishkav shemo levado. All praise God's name, for God's name alone is truly sublime. Please rise. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim v'yoren keren le'amo hasidam v'folidam v'bnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah. Who may ascend the mountain of the eternal, and who may rise up to the place where holiness abides? A person of clean hands and pure heart, who has never taken a false oath nor sworn deceitfully. Such a person shall receive God's blessing and kindness from the well of salvation. Eitz Chaim hi le'machazikim ba v'tov echa me'ushan derach echa gatenoam v'chol nativotecha shalom ashireinu Please be seated. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Reborn, born and reborn again. And now, I'm going to ask you to turn to page 450 to the Avodah service. Now, I'm going to share with you the rabbinic decision-making that goes on into this. We could continue on with Mincha, the afternoon service for Yom Kippur. I've never, as a Reformed Jew, been a huge fan of Mincha. I always describe it as like jumping into a cool pool of water, getting out, and then wrapping yourself in a wet towel. All right, because it's just doing the same thing over again. And so, quite honestly, is there anything I can do for you, officer?
No, sir.
All right, just, all right, very good. And so I prefer, actually I'm more of a historical recreationist. I like to reenact things from the past. And the Avodah service, which explores the theme of the ancient temple, is more my speed. And so using my unique rabbinic powers, I move us to page 450. 15 steps, 15 songs of ascent in the book of Psalms. To what do they correspond? Our sages once taught 15 steps led up to the holy temple in Jerusalem. And on these steps the Levites stood with trumpets and drums, an orchestra of holiness for the singers of David's psalms. But others said the exiles sang 15 songs on their journey home. Step by step they ascended from the rivers of Babylon to the land of Abraham and Sarah. Another view, the 15 psalms were songs the pilgrims chanted as they climbed the hills of Zion to celebrate sacred seasons with matzah, first fruits, lulav, and etrog. Or perhaps these 15 songs are timeless, speaking to the innermost self, tracing the ascent to God of every soul. Our bodies dwell upon the earth. Our souls thirst for the living God. Like those who came before us, we seek the holy dimension. Then, as now, 15 steps mark the ascent, song and prayer, speech and silence. Through Avodah, our act of sacred service, let us reach for the Holy One. We begin on page 453. First step, the holiness of God. Shir Hamalot, a song of ascents. Elecha nasati et anai. I lift up my eyes unto you. Together, may our eyes be open to the presence of the One in all things. Through contemplating the divine, may we ascend towards the holy. Holiness, it begins with the divine. The mystics of the Kabbalah teach God encompassed all that exists, everything we can ever know, every being the eye discerns, every phenomena hidden from the mind, all dwell within the infinite, the one we call Ein Sof. No separate selves, no you, no I. All divisions are illusion, for all are one within the one, and everything is God. And so it is written, no holiness compares with God. Apart from you, there is nothing. Kadosh, 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 holy, holy, holy. Holy in the highest heaven, holy upon the earth, holy forever and ever. We turn now to page 455. Alternating paragraphs, please, responsively. Ruler of the world, I will sing you a song. Where shall I find you? And where shall I not find you? Where I wander, you are there. Where I sojourn, you are there. Only you, always you, 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 you. When I am joyful, it is you. When I am woeful, it is you. Only you, always you, 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 you. East and west, north and south, in all directions, to and fro, in the sky and on the earth, above and you below. Only you, always you, 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 you. Eternal God, who reigned before the earth was formed and life appeared, when all came forth as you desired, you ruled supreme, your name revered. And after everything shall fade away, alone our God of all remains. You were, you are, you always will be. Your presence shine, your glory reigns. Our God is one beyond compare. You we glimpse pure unity, unbound by words like first and last. our moment of eternity. My living God, my rock, my help, in times of grief I see your face, my sign of hope, my cup of life, my prayers reveal your sheltering place. My soul entrusted in your care, both when I sleep and when I rise, my body too will rest in you. I have no fear, for God is mine. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekor HaKiddushah. Praised are you, eternal presence, the holiness at the very heart of existence. Second step, the holiness of creation. Esainai el haharim, me'ayim yavo ezri. I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where will my help come from? My help comes from the eternal, maker of heaven and earth. We marvel at the abiding miracle of our existence, the primordial explosion of being and light, our origins in oneness. Through contemplating the mystery of creation, may we ascend towards the holy. When God began to create the heaven and the earth being unformed and void, the darkness over the surface of the deep and a wind from God sweeping over the water, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Together, oneness is grounded in scientific reality. We are made of the same stuff as all creation. Everything that is, was, or will be started out together as one infinitesimal point, the cosmic seed. Life has since branched out, but this should not blind us to the underlying unity. Says the Netzker Rebbe, to every one of us, creation comes as a new thing, again and again, and so we are bound to acknowledge the Creator again and again. Psalm 8. Together, unnameable God, how immeasurable is your power in all the earth, and how radiant in the sky. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the multitude of stars, what is man that you love him, and woman that you gladden her heart? Yet you've made us almost like angels and crowned us with understanding. You put us in charge of all creations and placed your whole earth in our hands. All animals, tame and wild, all forests, fields, and deserts, even the pure air of the sky, even the depth of the ocean. Unnameable God, how terrible is our power in all the earth. Day passed when I forgot the mystery, problems insoluble and problems offering their own ignored solutions. Jostle for my attention, they crowd its antechamber, along with a host of diversions, my courtiers, wearing their colored clothes, cap and bells, and then, once more, the quiet mystery is presented to me, and the throng's clamor recedes. The mystery that there is anything at all, let alone cosmos, joy, memory, everything, rather than void, and that, O Lord, Creator, hallowed one, you still, hour by hour, sustain. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Ma'asev Reshit. Praised are you, eternal presence, creative force at the heart of existence. The third step, time. Nafshi la'adoni mishomrim leboker. I am more eager for the eternal than watchmen for the morning. Through celebration of Shabbat and festivals, we ascend towards the holy. The heaven and the earth were finished in all their array, and on the seventh day God finished the work that had been done, and God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy. Together, holiness entered the world as God's final gift of creation, Shabbat, first taste of sacred time, a festival whose name is cessation, renewing the body, restoring the soul. Island of stillness, a day of detachment from things, instruments, and practical affairs, a day of attachment to the Spirit. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but on the seventh day it is a Sabbath for the eternal your God. At the time of creation, Shabbat said to the Holy One, ruler of the universe, every living thing has a mate, and each day has its companion, except for me. I am alone. Said the Holy One, the people of Israel will be your mate. So when the Israelites came to Sinai, the Holy One instructed them, recall my words, Shabbat will be your mate. And thus we are commanded, remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Shabbat is yours to guard and protect and cherish and hold. We turn to page 462. The numbers, they're all meaningless. No. Judaism teaches us to be attached to holiness in time, to be attached to sacred events, to learn how to consecrate sanctuaries that emerge from the magnificent stream of a year. Elei me'odei Adonai mikre kodesh, asher tikaru otam lemoadim. These are the set times of the eternal, the sacred occasions you shall celebrate, each at its appointed time. The Sabbaths are our great cathedrals, and our Holy of Holies is a shrine that neither the Romans nor the Germans were able to burn, a shrine that even apostasy cannot obliterate, the Day of Atonement. The festivals act as lodgings for travelers making their way through the year. These festival inns are special accommodations, not solely for rest or retreat from the world, but also places to halt and take our bearing, to make sure we are traveling and not just going around in circles. These inns, not for sleeping, but rather for awakening from obliviousness. This is the gift of holy time, a year adorned with moadim, festivals and hallowed assemblies, sanctified and set apart from the steady flow of our days. Sheltered these sacred meeting times, we see our lives afresh, small chapters in a great story. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu noten lanu moadei kodesh. Praised are you, eternal presence, whose power we experience the holiness of Israel's sacred times and seasons. A fourth space, Shir Hamalot, a song of descents. Svu yedechem kodesh ubarchu et Adonai. Lift up your hands to the sanctuary and bless the eternal. By remembering the Mishkan and the temple, may we ascend towards holiness. Holiness, it entered the life of the Jewish people through the priests and their sacred service at God's altar. Va'asu li mekadesh v'shachati betochem. Says the Eternal One to Moses, let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. Long ago, in a tent, in the wilderness, in the temples of Jerusalem, our ancestors reached for God through sacrificial offerings, with bulls and goats and sheep, with grain and wine and oil. Said the Israelite people, these are the offerings by fire that you shall present to the Eternal. Bring all that I command you. When you cross the Jordan and settle in the land that the Eternal your God is granting you as a legacy, God will give you safety from all your surrounding enemies, and you will live in security. And then you shall bring all I command you to the place where the Eternal your God will choose to establish the divine name. Your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes and gifts of your hands, and all the choice votives, offerings that you offer the Eternal. Would someone be willing to read my tithe? Please, Greg.
My tithe a song. How to explain this impulse to bring to an altar some gifts or tithe. I am by now so settled into my land of uncertainty, reticent about religion, ambivalent about faith, and yet I cannot help but wonder, is it too late to turn my place of doubt into a sanctuary of hope? Find within myself a song of praise, a few plain words of thanks. For what? For the freedom to think my own thoughts, for the feeling of awe when I gaze at the night sky, for the capacity of the human mind to reflect on the universe. Perhaps then there is no need to explain. Let my thoughts be my gift. Let the search for truth be my guide, and let all bring me to places where holiness dwells.
We turn to page 466. What gave the tabernacle and the temple their holiness? Each was created as a place to bear witness to the divine. On this our faith is founded, that God is boundless, ever-present, unseen by the eye, a still small voice having neither body, form, nor image. God can be praised in all places, encountered anywhere, and yet we have built sanctuaries to praise the ineffable and contain our experience of the uncontainable. You are my witnesses, declares Adonai. Although tabernacle and temple are people witness God's presence. There they testified to a divine reality and affirmed that a meeting place with God was possible. There they created holy space in which to ground and give structure to their spiritual yearnings and insight. And there they expressed through signs and symbols their belief that that human beings can create in this world a direct connection with God. They were created to bring light into the world. When human beings build a house, they make it with windows that are narrow on the outside and broad within, so that the light may enter from outside and illuminate the interior. King Solomon, however, who built the temple, did not do it in this manner, but made the windows that were narrow on the inside and broad on the outside, so that the light may go forth from the temple and shine outside. Baruch atah Adonai hashochem b'tochenu b'kedusha. Praised are you, eternal presence, who dwells among us in holiness. We turn now to page 468 for the fifth step, Yom Kippur. To the eternal I called in my distress, and God responded to me. By recalling our people's ancient rites of Yom Kippur, may we ascend towards the holy. Dawn, the holy day. The morning horizon glowed before the gaze of the watchmen as they spread a curtain of linen to give the high priest privacy. He removed his clothing and immersed in the mikveh, the first of 5 baths, then dressed himself in a garment of gold. He stood in a state of holiness to begin the first offering. He kindled incense and lamps, brought forth sacrifice and libation. Having bathed again, he wore a white shirt, an exquisite garment to serve the sovereign of glory. Who will read our sages teach? Please, Becky.
Our sages teach, there are 70 peoples in the world. Among these holy peoples is the people of Israel. The holiest of the people of Israel was the tribe of Levi. The holiest in the tribe of Levi were the priests. The holiest among the priests was the high priest. The world God made is holy. Among the holy lands in the world is the holy land of Israel. The holiest city in the land of Israel is Jerusalem. The holiest place in Jerusalem was the temple, and the holiest place in the temple was the Holy of Holies. Among the days of the year, the festivals are holy. Holier than the festivals is the Holy Sabbath. The holiest Sabbath, the Sabbaths of Sabbaths, is Yom Kippur. There are 70 languages in the world. Among the holy languages is Hebrew. The holiest words in Hebrew are the words of the Torah. The holiest utterances in the Torah are the 10 Commandments, and the holiest word in the 10 Commandments is the name of God. One word on the lips of one person in one place at one moment brought these 4 dimensions of the holy. When the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur and utter the name of God.
Baruch atah Adonai hamikaper lanu b'yom hakippurim. Praised are you, eternal presence, who leads us to atonement on this holy day. Sixth step, the act of confession. V'hu yivdei Adonai et Yisrael mikol avonotav. The Eternal will redeem us from all of our moral failures. Through sincere confession, offered in humility, may we ascend towards the holy. Within the Holy of Holies, the high priest spoke words of confession, first for himself and his family, and then for the priests who served at his side, and finally for the whole community. His hands on the head of a bull, he confessed all their sins and his own. Nothing was concealed in his heart, and quietly he spoke the 4 letters that form God's name, quietly, so that no one else would hear. For the holiest name must be known only to him. Clear and pure were the high priest's confession, a ladder for the soul seeking atonement. Bruce, you seem like someone should be giving the speech of the Kohanim. Would you do the high priest's confession?
God, I plead before you. We have sinned. We have done wrong. We have rebelled against you, my family and I, the community of priests, and the whole house of Israel. I beseech you by your name. Grant atonement for the sins, the wrongs, and the acts of rebellion that we have committed against you, my family and I, the community of priests, and the whole house of Israel. As it is written in the Torah of your servant Moses, for on
This day of atonement shall be made for you to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you will be in the presence of the Eternal.
After the high priest pronounced the name of God, the people bowed and knelt and touched their heads to the ground, saying,
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. 7th step, 473. Ye Adonai Ye Yisrael El Adonai, Ki Am Adonai HaChesed. Let Israel put forth its hope in God, for with you is a storehouse of kindness, and with the Holy One redemption abounds. Through generous acts of self-sacrifice, may we ascend towards the holy. The ritual of 2 goats. After the first confession, the high priest walked to the east, where 2 goats, alike in height and appearance, stood bound together in the temple courtyard, bound there for the sake of atonement. The priest would cast golden lots, lifting one from the box, and lowered it to destine 1 goat for the God high above, and the others for the high cliff mountains. A sin offering to God, he cried, and then he tied crimson wool to the head of the goat to be sent into the wilderness. Our gift to God is neither a scapegoat nor sin offering, but an offering of our heart and soul. Our gift is a vision of how life should be lived. Our offerings are unselfishness and strength, generosity, and service to others. We turn now to page 475. Would someone read the Nearness of God? Helena. I got Helena there. I'll get you and Richard next time. Helena, you're in. You're in. The Nearness of God.
The nearness of God. Priests and Levites felt it when offering a korban. Nearness came through sacrifice and a thanksgiving song. And our people's poet felt it in their dreams to return. The one who crafted songs of exile, far from the sweet city for which they longed. And what of us? When do we feel that nearness? What is our korban, the nearness of God? It comes through acts of goodness, deeds of self-sacrifice. When we give of ourselves in selfless ways, it comes when we hear, truly hear, those who cry out.
Those who cry out to us. Well, let's alternate paragraphs. Let now a generous presence teach us gentleness that melts the hardness of our heart. Together. Then shall we be more sensitive to the needs of others and responsive to their pleas. All who struggle to be heard and those who live behind walls of illness, of poverty, and injustice. All whose faces are forgotten from one encounter to the next, and those who never find a place of shelter. All those whose skills and talents go unnoticed, and all those whose bright promise has dimmed from want of attention.
All whose bodies are burdened with pain, and those whose minds are clouded by confusion.
All those whose voices tremble with this cry of absence, and those whose only season is the winter of the heart. All who die alone in spiritual darkness, and those whose isolation is a living death. All who are abandoned, neglected, or abused, and those who have been driven from their homes by violence or war. all who wait for love that never comes, never a touch, a friend. To all these let us respond with open hearts. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzitanu al mitzvat korbanot. Blessed are you, eternal presence, by whose power we sanctify life through acts of generosity and self-sacrifice. The 8th step, Az Yomru V'Goyim. As it is said among the nations, the Eternal has done great things for them. Inspired by Jewish memory and rooted in the history of the people, may we ascend towards the holy. Precious is the light by which we gaze upon the past, and blessed are the journeys of those who came before us. Abraham and Sarah left familiar ways, went forth to places they did not know. Moses and Miriam led their people from fear to faith through a wilderness of doubt. Blessed is the wisdom of sages and prophets who taught our ancestors the life of holiness. Out of violence and brokenness came prayers of healing, a religion of renewal, joy, and compassion. I ask you now to turn to page 482. Deep are the waters of time, to search their darkness for glimmers of the ancient radiance, sparks of inspiration and guidance. This is our avodah, the sacred service of this holy day. Deep are the waters of our people's past, to plumb their depth, to see our reflections in the living stream of history. This is our avodah, the sacred service of this holy day. Deep are the waters of memory, to drink from this well, to remember our past, and to make it come alive. This is our avodah, the sacred service of this holy day. Deep are these waters. Are they not the source of our salvation? Civilization hangs suspended. Civilization hangs suspended from generation to generation by the gossamer strand of memory. If only one cohort of mothers and fathers fails to convey to its children what it has learned from its parents, then the great chain of learning and wisdom snaps. If the guardians of human knowledge stumble only once, in their fall collapses the whole edifice of knowledge and understanding. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu al hazikaron. Blessed are you, eternal presence, by whose power we sanctify life through the mitzvah of Jewish memory. A 9th step, building the world in holy places. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Behold, how good, sweet, and pleasant it is to be dwelling with brothers and sisters who live together as one. With every Jewish home we create, with every synagogue we build and sustain, may we ascend towards holiness. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. But will God really dwell on earth? Even the heavens to the utmost reaches cannot contain you. How much less the house that I have built? King Solomon's temple ended long ago, left in ruins by the army of Babylon, and the second temple, burned by Rome, is but a distant memory. Where is God's dwelling place now? Said the prophet Ezekiel, God has become for Israel a mikdash ma'at, a diminished sanctuary, after the fall of Jerusalem and the scattering of our people. But our sages taught every synagogue is a mikdash ma'at, a small sanctuary. Each carries a spark of the Beit HaMikdash, the holy temple in Jerusalem. Would someone read Ask Rashi? Please, actually Richard, and then we'll get Dakota later.
Ask Rashi, why do they call the temple the house of the God of Jacob? And he answered, for Abraham the abode of the divine was a mount, for Isaac an open field. Jacob said, how wondrous is this place? This must be the house of God. Jacob discovered the divine in the vision of the house, and so the temple is forever linked with his name. Mountains and fields inspiring us with nature's beauty, but houses are built by human hands. Every Jewish home is now a sanctuary where goodness is nurtured and brought to life. In God's altar, now the altar is our table, where we gather to offer our best and share what we have.
Do read these paragraphs responsively. To devotion, God set no limits, and to dedication of the Spirit, God set no bounds. Though the temples of Solomon and Herod were far more costly, it is written that divine presence was found more constantly in the humbler structures.
To dedicate the Spirit to God is more difficult than to give money. To devote the whole heart to the eternal is more difficult than bringing gifts.
Not because of the gold on the walls does the light of the sanctuary shine forth, but because of the Spirit within.
Those who worship carry away with them more than they bring, for they find their delight to illuminate lives.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav livnot mikdash ma'at. Praised are you, eternal presence, by whose power we sanctified life when we build small sanctuaries, Jewish homes, and synagogues. 10th step. Shir Hamalot, a song of ascents. Velo tilachti b'gdolato uvniftaot mimeni. I do not aspire to great things or what is beyond me. I have taught myself to be contented. Through words of Torah, through deeds of Torah, may we ascend towards the holy. Our sages teach, so bright was the light of the first day of creation that it shone from one end of the world to the other. Such light could not coexist with the darkness of evil, and so God concealed this holy light and hid it away. Where is that light today? The Holy One concealed it in the holy book, and those who study Torah bring forth its radiant sparks. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai received the tradition from Hillel and Shammai, and he used to say, if you've learned much Torah, do not hold yourself in high esteem, because that is what you were created for. We turn now to page 488. Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak. Let the earth hear the words I utter. May my discourse come down as rain, and my speech distill as dew, like showers upon young growth, like droplets upon the grass. Responsively. Rain exists forever, so too words of Torah endure. Showers give young plants their special traits, color, height, and blossoms. So too the words of Torah cultivate human virtues, kindness, compassion, and piety.
Tiny droplets revive a fading flower, so too words of Torah refresh the soul, awakening my heart.
No one knows when rain will come until it falls upon the earth. So too no one knows when a Torah teacher's skills until the teacher's life unfolds. Rain is pure and washes everything upon which it falls. So too the words of Torah wash away sin and make atonement for our errors and our wrongs. Baruch atah Adonai hanoten haTorah. Blessed are you, eternal presence, who places Torah at the heart of existence. Shir Hamalot. Yachel Yisrael el Adonai, me'atav ad olam. Israel, yearn for God, and from now until the end of time. Though prayers of praise and thanks, and when we humbly ask your help, may we ascend towards the holy. What is the service of the heart? It is prayer. When a person, overwhelmed by the impact of a specific experience, seeks the nearness of God or bursts forth in hallelujah or bows down in gratitude, it is a prayer, not service of God yet. It is a human response to a potent stimulus. But when we pray without the stimulus of a specific occasion, acknowledging that we are always dependent upon God, that independently of all personal experience, God is always to be praised and to be thanked, then and only then is prayer divine service of the heart. Will someone read spontaneous prayer on page 492? Dakota, can I call upon you? 91. 91. Spontaneous prayer.
All right. Spontaneous prayer is born out of the need of the moment. Prescribed prayer teaches us to feel the need we might not otherwise feel. Whether our prayers are rooted in ancient tradition or arise as outpourings of the heart, they reveal a world of wonders. Prayer is meaningless unless it is subversive, unless it seeks to overthrow and ruin the pyramids of callousness, hatred, opportunism, falsehoods. How is it that those who pray and those who do not pray live thoroughly different lives? It is because the time devoted to prayer makes an impression upon every aspect of the day.
To be able to pray is to know how to stand still and dwell upon a word. This is how some worshipers in the past would act. They would repeat the same word many times because they loved and cherished it so much that they could not part with it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al hatefillah. We come now to the 12th step, Shir Hamalot. Katal hirim sherod hare Tzion, ki sham tziva Adonai et habarecha. Like the dew of Hermon that falls upon Zion, there the eternal ordained blessing and everlasting life. We contemplate the sacred path of nature, its elegant designs, its intricate patterns. Through the mystery and beauty of the natural world, we ascend to the holy. Excited, my thought gives rise to vision. Your marvels I see with the eye of my heart, your wonders when towards heaven I gaze, inspired to seek and speak of your handiwork. I'm going to ask someone if they will read God's acrostic. Richard, would you do that?
God's acrostic. What if the universe is God's acrostic? He's sneaking bits of proverbs into seismic variations, abbreviating psalms and flexes. No. Try to read them, says a comment. If you dare, fine print. What have you been waiting for? Twisted in the DNA of Marmoset's hermetic feedback to your tight-lit prayer. Examine indentations left by hailstones in the grass. Unearth their parallel soliloquies. Note, too, the shifting patterns of cuneiform. Initiating each communication, verify them. Don't take my word. Eavesdrop on the planets in the outer spheres. They can reverse the letter's previous direction. Silence, as you might imagine, has no bearing here. Episodes of stillness, however brief, must be interpreted as unheard. Sounds, gaps, that, with any luck, will fill in later. Or so you'll tell yourself, acknowledging delusion's primal status in this enterprise. Still, that's no reason to slow down. Abandonments are howling out around you. Cast off lamentations from the thwarted box of women. Reduce to vapor on their struggle down. Observe, at the very least, their passing. Sanctify them. Don't succumb. To anything less vivid must spell out invitation to a not yet formulated nebula. Calm yourself. Come quickly. Welcome home.
A butterfly hailing from paradise clung to the flower I planted in autumn, letters from on high on its golden wings, signs of God. In these signs that before my eyes sank into space, fluttered the delicate light of my peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu hapokeach einenu leniflot hateva. Praised are you, eternal God, who opens our eyes to the wonder and power of nature. Step 13, Shir Hamalot. Eshtecha kegefen porea B'yakitai v'techa. Your beloved shall be like a fruitful vine at the center of your home, your children like young olive trees planted by your table. Our love and devotion to the next generation inspire us with hope for the future. Through nurturing the young, may we ascend towards the holy. The holiness of children, a gift to us all, a treasure to celebrate, a responsibility we share, each of us, a spiritual parent, a giver of Torah, a source of love and nature. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel, like palm groves that stretch out, like gardens beside a river. Ask the Midrash, what is the meaning of the verse, like gardens beside a river? These are the teachers of young children who bring forth wisdom and understanding from their hearts. All who share learning and love and cultivate generations to come bring beauty to the places where Israel dwells. I invite you now to turn to page 500. Someone might consider reading the poem On the Day My Daughter Was Born. Would you?
On the day my daughter was born, no one in the hospital died. So at the gate, a sign was posted, Kohanim may enter today. And it was the longest day of the year. So great was my joy that off I went with my good friend to the hills of Shar Pagel. We saw a bare and sickly pine tree covered only with countless cones. And Zvi said, that tree's on the verge of death yield more pine cones than the living. And I said to him, that was a poem, and you did not know it. Although you are a man of exact science, you made a poem. And he responded, and you, although you are a man of dreams, you made an exact little girl with all the exact machinery for her life.
Baruch atah Adonai hanotea b'tochenu b'ahava v'tikva. Blessed are you, eternal presence, who implants within us love and hope for the future. The 14th step, Shir Hamalot. Hazorim badima v'rina yiksoru. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Through joy and exultation may we ascend to the holy. Each of us is called to a life of service, avodah, that is rooted in joy and celebration and leads to thanksgiving, praise, and love and kindness. Jewish tradition teaches that such a life is the source of true simcha, the feeling of constant spiritual and moral growth that endures in spite of external events and circumstances. Serving God with our very lives should not be a burden. We are summoned to serve with gladness, not fear, and to serve beyond the walls of the synagogue, in our homes and on the streets, in workplace and marketplace, in all of our encounters. When we serve God in our everyday lives, a steady joy dwells within our hearts and will accompany us when we enter the house of the eternal. Number 4, on page 503, we fulfill the mitzvah of joy. Would someone read that? Ben?
Ways. When we buy something, we enjoy the purchase of food or clothing, for example, or we bring happiness to other people on holy days, especially those in need. But if one enjoys oneself in excess while ignoring the poor, it is considered simchat takaris, the happiness of the stomach, real physical gratification. The mitzvah of joy is an expression of holiness, for it brings the realization of we are in God's presence. The Talmud uses the same language to describe the state of mind of the prophets. The divine presence is not found where there is a state of sorrow, but rather through simcha shel mitzvah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al hasimcha. And finally, the 15th step, Shir Hamalot. Im etah sanat be'anai v'afafai timuna. I will not allow my eyes to sleep until I find a place for you, a tabernacle for the invincible strength of Jacob. Seeing ourselves as vessels of holiness, performing acts of courage and compassion, may we ascend towards the holy. You shall be to me a community of priests, a holy nation. How shall I meet the eternal to bow and worship if the God on high? Shall I approach God with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Would the eternal be pleased with 1,000 rams, or with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? You who are mortal, God has taught you what is good and what the eternal requires of you. Only this: do justice, love goodness, walk humbly with God. Do justice and love goodness and walk humbly with God. What does this verse imply? Rabbi Eliezer taught to do justice means in accordance with the principles of justice. To love goodness means let your actions be guided by the principles of loving kindness. To walk humbly with your God means assist needy families with their funerals and weddings. And Rashi taught further by giving modestly in private to help them meet their expenses. We turn now to page 507. Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish taught, at the time when the temple stood, the altar used to make atonement for us. Now our tables make atonement for us. And Rashi taught further, our tables make atonement for us when we welcome guests to our tables through the mitzvah of hospitality, haknasat orchim. Our tradition teaches, all who are hungry, let them come and eat. All who are needy, let them come and find a place at our table. Why distinguish between the two? Are the hungry and the needy not the same? There are many kinds of hunger, many dimensions of need. Some hunger for companionship. They crave respect, affection, a sense of belonging. Many souls starve for lack of meaning and purpose, and some speak without being heard. They need strength of spirit in their isolations. Others are in pain that goes unnoticed, unseen. They need kindness and attention from the one who understands them. Let us give nourishment according to the hunger. Let us give sustenance according to need. May we see ourselves as vessels of holiness. May every place we find ourselves be an altar where we serve. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lirot et atzmenu mikichalei hodesh. Praised are you, eternal presence, whose power we sanctify life when we see ourselves as vessels of holiness. Finally, to page 509. In each human hand and heart is the power to renew life, to see dignity where there is brokenness and defeat, to know and cherish the image of God in every human face, to open eyes that have been closed in despair, to give each, to shelter the weak and shield the helpless, to give strength to the weary, hope and comfort to those who feel pain, to care for the earth like an old friend, and to give its oceans, rivers, and forests our selfless love, to treat ponds and tide pools and skies and mountains as sacred living beings. In each of us has the power to renew life. We read together our closing blessing. Long ago, one word on the lips of one person, in one place, at one moment, brought together 4 dimensions of the holiness. When the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur and utter the name of God. And now every place where we lift our eyes to God is a Holy of Holies. Created in the image of God, we are all high priests. Every day of our life is lived in love is a Yom Kippur. Every word we speak in truth is the name of God. We pray from the Holy of Holies in our heart. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will the coming year grant to us a year of abundance and atonement, a year of blessing bestowed and received, a year of community and compassion, a year of delight and exultation, a year of enlightenment, a year of friendship and forgiveness, a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel, a year of health and healing and humor and inner strength of well-being, a year of joy and Jewish celebration, a year of knowledge, learning for our own sake, a year of love between parents and children, friends, spouses, brothers and sisters, a year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness, a year of nature protected and enjoyed, a year of optimism and hope, a year of peace pursued with perseverance, a year of quiet and tranquility, a year of rain in its season, a year of song and spiritual growth, a year of Torah study and tikkun olam, a year of understanding and unity, a year of vows filled and dilence overcome, a year of wisdom expired and shared, a year of coexistence among the families of the earth, a year of young and old reaching out to one another, a year of Zion aglow with light for us and for all the world. Our God and God of all generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you in the most profound of blessing, the gift of life. Together, faith does not spring out of nothing. It comes with discovery of the holy dimension of our existence. Okay, I was 5 minutes off, but otherwise I did pretty good. Yes.